And we're live. Welcome to Expert35, everyone. I am your host, Greg Stevenson, normally behind the camera, which is a good thing, but today I'm in front of the camera. We bring you experts from 35 different industries talking to you about what's most important and answering your burning questions. And today, answering those questions, we have one of our favorite guests, our OG expert, Jennifer Johnson. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
It's great to be back. I was joking with someone this morning. I'm like, I'm the Regis Spellman of the David Letterman show. When they couldn't find a guest, they would call Reg.
Oh, you so are. Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh,
that's
so funny. Oh no, we love having you on because you always bring the goods, right? And actually, it makes total sense because you can't look at the news today without seeing a story or expose or whatever on what's going on in the real estate, market, because things are just so hot. Inventories are really, really low, and I just saw, we talked before we came on, I actually saw a news story where people waiting to see a home are actually swinging umbrellas at each other.
Oh goodness.
Because
that's crazy.
That's how crazy the market is. So we're so glad that you're here.
Well, I'm always glad to be here, and I love talking real estate. So
fantastic. So tell us, Jennifer, what's the latest? What's behind everything that's going on and all these news stories?
Well, it's definitely a good time to sell. So if you're ready to sell, I'd love to help you. Hint, hint. But no, it's a good, really good time to sell. If you've been thinking about it, you're like, I don't know, it's so much work. No, it's time to go. This is a good time. Prices are higher than they've ever been. Inventory is low, so people are going to want your property. And you still have to price it right, and you have to be reasonable with the price. So, but there is a great advantage to selling right now. And full disclosure, my cat is behind the computer going crazy. So what is that?
We like animals. Yeah, we like animals on the show. So yeah, let's get it front and center. And by the way, if you want some more information, you want to contact Jennifer, text Expert28 to the number you see on the screen, and you'll get her contact information, and she's just the best. So please do that. And if you want to join the conversation, you can just text Expert35 to that same number. So we were talking before we came on the show, Jennifer, that that not all offers are created the same. Tell us why that is and what that means.
Well, there are a lot of things that go into an offer, and this is why it's important to work with an agent. Don't try to do this by yourself. There's so many unknowns. You don't know the laws, and it's going to save you money in the long run, I promise. And there's the cat. Goodness gracious. The cat does not come on appointments with me. She stays at home, so there's no worry there. So anyway, back to business. Yeah, so you need to study the offers. You need to know, right now, a lot of homes are going way over, people are paying way over appraisal. So that means as a lender, as a borrower, you have to come up with the cash. So let's say you buy a house, you make an offer, buy a house for $100,000. Well, the appraisal comes in at $80,000. You as a buyer have to make up that cash, because let me tell you, the seller in this hot market is not going to lower the price. Usually there would be some negotiation that the seller would come down, the buyer would come up a little. No, the seller's is not moving. They want full price. So you have to study the offer and figure out if they have the cash to cover that. That's an important part. And if they get certain kind of loans, the VA and the VHA loans are very strict about appraisals, and they won't cover them. They won't cover it. So you really need to know what your buyer is, what their finances are, and if they're able to do that. Also, are the buyers, it's buying your house contingent on them selling their house? That's tricky too, because you don't want to get into a situation where you're way down the road and your buyer backs out because they can't sell that house. So you have to remove that from the deal. You cannot have usually a contingency. That's very negotiable. You can remove that from the deal. Also, you can also do an appraisal contingency. So before this all happened, if a buyer would submit a contingency saying, if it doesn't appraise, then we can get what it appraises at. If it didn't appraise at 100,000, then they would automatically be okay to pay 80,000 if they had that appraisal contingency. You can't do that anymore because nobody will take that offer. There's too much money left on the table. So those are things you need to look for when an offer comes in. And it doesn't mean that the highest price is always the best. There are a lot of different factors that go in there.
Yeah, and I think that's what, can you expand on that a little bit? Because I think maybe that would surprise a lot of people because they're maybe just looking for the highest price. So why is that important to know?
Well, for instance, lately I sold a house and they came in, I'm going to do an easy number. So the asking price was 100,000 and they came in at 135, but their loan was 100. There's Charlotte, and she's going away.
Oh, Charlotte.
Their loan was 100. They were financing 100% of their loan. So if they're doing that at 135 or what, there's no room for them to come in and meet that appraisal. There's no cash to cover anything if they're doing 100% financing. So we didn't take that loan. We took a loan that was 125,000 and that went through. It was a good solid loan. These were good solid buyers that had good finances behind them. And they look good on paper. That's what you have to do.
Interesting. Well, we have so many questions coming in that you're going to have to answer on the chat afterwards. But Craig's got a question. What is the most important thing you can do to give your house curb appeal before selling? And maybe this is even more important now because of how competitive it is now. Is that right?
Well, yes. But the inventory is low, so you probably have a little bit more leeway. As long as it's priced right. But in a real market, it just needs to look tidy and it needs to look neutral. It needs to look like something really warm and welcoming when you pull up. So get rid of the weeds, put some mulch down, trim the trees, plant some pretty flowers. They don't have to be expensive or fancy. Just add some pops of color to your front yard and clean it. If you have a house, I would recommend power washing it. But again, you've got a lot more leeway these go around. But I'm always going to suggest you make your house look as best as possible because then that way somebody will offer more. You'll get the highest price offer with a good backup mortgage, with a good banking backup.
Absolutely. And we've got a question from Gabe. He's chiming in. He says, Jennifer, I'm super excited. I'm sure he says hello, by the way. I'm super excited to list my my condo. What's the market looking like in Houston and the River Oaks area?
Well, I happen to know this condo, and it's a wonderful, the location is key, and you can walk to things. So again, location still plays a major factor in what you're going to get and how you can price. But the condo market is good. It's solid. So reach out to me if you want to live in the River Oaks area. You can walk to everything. It's a great little condo. It's very secure. And we just painted it and we just put new countertops in it. We're gorgeous. So
awesome.
And I will list who did the countertops and the painting, and you can give them a call.
That's awesome. Shan's got a great question. With everything that's going on now, how long are we away from things changing to where we actually have a buyer's market?
Oh man, I wish I knew that. I'd be on every talk show in America, which I would love. But I don't know. I mean, we just have to see how this goes. It can't last forever, obviously, because nothing does, and there's be a correction, and it will turn back, and it'll flatten out. I wish I knew. But right now, it's a seller's market, so it's a good time to sell.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's talk a second just about why it's important to actually work with a professional and the risks in this type of market of trying to go alone or trying to sell it yourself.
Well, again, a realtor is trained and is educated and knows the laws and has a brokerage behind them. If you're doing it on your own, you don't know what pitfalls to look for. You don't know the rules. You don't know the laws. Maybe you didn't know that the highest priced offer is not necessarily the best. And for the reasons we explained, excuse me, it really pays to work with a professional. And I'm not just saying that because I am one, but my number one goal is to protect you, is to protect my clients from things they don't know or things they don't understand, because that's not what the world they live in. You need someone to have your back and protect you every step of the way.
Absolutely. No, it's so important. So yeah, we've got people just chiming in. Shannon's just great information. Lots of thumbs up. So this is really connecting with people. So what about if people are obviously there's looking for just a home to live in, right? I mean, and I think you mentioned before the show that people are just wanting a change, and that's driving a lot of what you're seeing now. What are people actually looking for?
Well, one of the biggest things is space for a home office and a yard. So, because we've been in the house for a year, that people, you've been in the same four walls and you've looked at the things that have bugged you when you bought it, and you're like, now I really can't stand it, so I got to go. And that's what they're doing. Sometimes the work is just too much. They don't want to remodel. They just want a fresh start. And it is about a fresh start. And the kids need a bigger yard to play in because they've been in the house. And it's about a change. That's my feeling, is people just need a change and a new start.
Absolutely. And so is this a good time to be looking for investment opportunities also, or a second home, or what do you think about that, Jennifer?
Well, I think and speaking in Houston, there are still some great up and coming areas, and I would love to share them with you. I've done a lot of research that there are still investment properties to find. They're probably a little higher than they were 6 months ago, but there's some good places to buy. If you're willing to excuse me, if you're willing to ride through the transitional period of a neighborhood, you can rent while you do that. There are some good places to go.
Absolutely.
So, places you wouldn't really think of, but I have a whole list.
Yeah. So how much of that, like, and I'm in Los Angeles, right, in California. A lot of people from this area in California are actually moving to Texas and Houston, right? So, and it's not just individuals, but it's large corporations also, right? So how much of that do you think is really driving like what we're seeing in properties not being available or being snapped up like so fast?
Well, and that's a great point too, because Californians are used to paying a lot of money for a house and you get a closet. And so you come here to the big state of Texas and you get your closet is as big as your house in California. We've just got more space. And so people are coming and they think they're getting a great deal, when in turn it's driving up the prices for people who live in Houston. But that's the way the housing market goes. So, but it's good for our economy. People moving to Texas is good for our economy. Come on. And
absolutely.
So everybody talks about Dallas and Austin. I'm going to do a Houston plug. Houston is the 4th largest city, and we have everything to offer. I think there are 135 languages spoken here. That's really amazing. I think Houston kind of slips under the radar, but it is a great place to live.
No, I agree. It's definitely has a very strong international presence, and the economic engine is one of the strongest in the countries. So it's not just people moving to Austin and companies moving to Austin. They're also going to Houston, right? Because and then you have the taxes are low too, right? So compare it out to here. So there's a lot of drivers, and I think that just speaks to the end is not in sight as far as this current housing market, right? Because I just don't see what's going to change in that right now, even with the pandemic. It's going to materially change that.
Yeah, the pandemic, again, Houston's very lucky. We took a little blip in April with the pandemic, and then it just took right back off. It didn't stop. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is so fantastic. So much good information, Jennifer. We get to our favorite part of the show, my favorite part of the show. 3 things to do now. What do people need to be doing when they're trying to navigate and looking and or selling a home?
Well, first of all, put the cat in a different room when you're on live TV. So sweet, though. It's really hard to be mad at her. So anyway, enough about my cat. 3 things. You need to work with an agent, work with a professional who can protect you. That's what an agent is for, is to protect you. And they will get you a solid offer. They will help pick the best offer. And then that is step 2, things to know. Study all the offers. Take the time to look through them, see what their finances are, see what contingencies they want. Do they want an appraisal contingency? No. Do they want a sale, a contingency that they have to sell their home? No. So this is interesting. So number 3 is, sorry, I'll get to that, is the highest price is not always the best offer. Keep that in mind. Again, you have to look at finances and their back and what contingencies they have. So I saw on NBC Nightly News the other day, they were talking about this. And the correspondent said, well, yeah, you can, people are waiving their inspections. No. If you're buying a house, do not pass on getting inspection. You need to know what's going on in that house and what you're getting into. That's what an option period is for. And that gives you, so knowing that, usually the option period is around 10 days, but now people, to make an offer more attractive, are doing a 7-day option. And for example, if you were buying a $100,000 house, your option fee may be $100. Well, to make it more attractive, people are doing $1,000 option fee for 7 days. So that's some tricks that you need to know too, that if you really want a house, there's some ways around, ways to get on top of the list. And I'd love to help you with that. So.
Fantastic.
3 things. And there
on the cat. The cat is actually a hit on the show, as you can see there. People are loving the cat. But no, we love having you on, Jennifer. This has been just so good. And again, to reach out to Jennifer to get her information, text Expert28 to the number you see on the screen. And and she'll get in contact with you, answer any questions. We're going to let you loose, Jennifer, on the chat so you can answer all the other questions and the resources you have. But this has been really fantastic. So we love having you on.
Oh, well, it's been fun. We missed Gabriel, but Greg did a great job.
Well, yeah. So maybe we just don't have Gabriel on the show anymore. So
he's probably watching.
I know he's totally watching. So
our phones are going to start blowing up.
yeah. I think mine is already.
All right. Well, very good. It's so much fun. And call me if you have any questions. There's no obligation. I'll answer the questions you have. So
absolutely. No, you're fantastic and very approachable, and it is so important. This is why we do what we do, right? Is that it's important to work with experts and someone that you can trust, because you don't want to go into these types of situations without someone that totally has your back and can bring just immediate value to the situation. You just have to have that relationship, and that's what you bring, and that's what we're here for. So thank you so much for answering all our questions, and we'll look to have you back soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's good to see you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Again, my name's Greg with Expert35. That's Jennifer. Text Expert28 to that number to get her information, and she will take care of you. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Expert35. Thank you so much, everyone.
We educate during difficult times. We collaborate at Expert35. This is for a better tomorrow and a better today. Let's come together and together we will find a way. You got questions, we got solutions. You got problems, we got resolutions. Visit Expert